Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be ranking the Premier League kits for the 2021-22 season. So obviously, there's been some decent kits around there. So we're going to be doing the home kits in today's video, and then we're going to be doing the away kits as well in the next video. And we might do third kits as well, but there's not all the clubs I don't think have had a third kit yet. So we'll just we'll just do home and away kits, and then we'll see about third kits maybe. But yes, guys, if you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 400 subs. Let's get there as soon as possible. And yes, guys, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Fearless. Before we get into the tier maker, we're going to use these 5 categories. So we've got take my money, we've got decent, we've got average, we've got below average, and poor. So we'll start off with Arsenal, obviously going in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
And I think this is decent. I think this is Arsenal always do some of the best kits, I think. Yeah. Maybe in the league.
Yeah.
I think this one it's a bit different to a couple of years ago, last year's and that kits, but I like it. I think it's definitely up there with one of the best kits this season.
You can't really do too much of Arsenal's home kits. It's always the red and white. But I think they've gone quite creative with the navy stripes or the Adidas. I think the navy looks quite nice on it, and you can't really go wrong with it. And obviously Arsenal's kits, they're always some of the best in the league every single season. Mainly their away kits. The home kit last year was quite good as well. But it's a very, very good Arsenal kit, and you can't really go wrong with it.
Fair enough. We'll go on to Aston Villa now. I think again, this looks, it's a decent kit. It's obviously got the stripes with a more of a darker colour and then a bit of a lighter colour in the middle of it as well.
Yeah, I think
it looks good. And obviously the claret and blue. I think it's a decent kit. Yeah, I would say it's as good as Arsenal's though.
And it's debatable. My personal opinion is better, but I think this kit looks good. The sponsor is good because obviously Everton have it as well, and a few things like that. But yeah, I think that the kit looks very good. I think there's nothing wrong with the sponsor. There's nothing wrong with the brand or anything. I think it's spot on from Villa.
Right, we'll go to the next one now, which is Brentford.
I think it's very plain. I think it's
average, yeah.
It's very average. It's plain. There's not much going on. I know it's a Brentford kit, but at the end of the day, there's not really too much going on. There's nothing like the Aston Villa kit where it's like sort of background sort of pattern or anything like that. There's nothing really going on with it. It's just plain red and white stripe. I think the sponsor looks good, but it just looks a bit dull to me.
Yeah, just one of those retro kits, really. That just it's like
it's
like back
old
in the
school
days. It feels like
nothing's really going on with it, to be honest. But it's not the worst. It's definitely average because you can't. It's not better than average, but it's not worse than average. So yeah, that's where I put Brentford's
fair enough. We'll go on to Brighton now, and I think this one's quite decent as well. It's just like with Brighton, you don't expect much because obviously it's blue and white. You kind of need both of those colours. But I think it's pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's as good as Aston Villa's and Arsenal's, but it's a decent kit.
I think it's kind of besides last year, I think it looks like kind of every single kit that Brighton have done. To be honest, like most kit, it looks very similar. Again, if it's blue and white stripes, there's not much you can do with it. But yeah, it's a decent kit. I think obviously they've got Nike and the sponsor, American Express. I think that fits in quite well with the kit. So yeah, I think Brighton have done a very, very good job with the kit this year.
Fair enough. We'll go on to Burnley now. And with Burnley, don't normally expect much, but this season, it's actually looking quite all right.
Very, very decent. I think it's a good kit. And Burnley don't expect anything too spectacular. They are with Umbro, and it's not like Adidas or Nike or anything like that, not that style, but I think it's quite good. It looks quite old, not really old school, but I think it looks decent. The sponsor, it looks good. I think the sort of shoulder sort of pattern on there, the sort of sky blue, I think that looks quite good. And if I was a Burnley fan, I'd be very not just shocked but pleased with the kit, to be honest. Because I think Burnley don't do the most amazing home kits in the world, but I think this one is probably one of the best I've seen for the past few years from Burnley. But yeah, they've done a top job on the kit, and we've got quite a few decent right now.
Yeah, fair enough. So we might have to Might have to spread it out a bit here, but we've got the Chelsea kit now, and
Definitely
personally,
below average. Yeah.
low average.
I
It's
don't
like
like
checkers or something.
the checker design. I don't think it looks good. There's two different designs as well, two different patterns merged together. It just don't look good. You can
Because I
see
think
it's
on that
sort
left-hand side,
of
they're more crammed together, and then on the right, they're kind of more spaced out. I
yeah, I think
only do
no. I
one or
mean,
the other.
on the one side is more sort of squares, and the other side's more sort of zigzags. It's a bit confusing, really. I don't understand why they've gone with two sort of designs, and they're not really like half and half. They're kind of diagonal a bit, but it looks a bit weird to me. It's probably a kit that looks a lot better in real life. I don't really like the sponsor either. I think that brings it down as well. I think Chelsea probably should just go with a simple kit, but it's not the worst kit, but in my opinion, it's just not a great kit from Chelsea this year. I don't think Chelsea have done great kits at all this year, apart from their third kit.
Fair enough. We'll go on to Crystal Palace now, and I don't know, I think this is. I think it either goes in the bottom of decent or it goes in average.
Definitely top of average. I think it's much better than Brentford's. It's more sort of creative. I think when you look at it, I'm not a big fan of those sort of darkish sort of lines on the edge of the sort of blue and red patterns. I don't really understand why that's kind of come across, but it's decent. I think the sponsor looks good. Definitely not great from their kit last year, because I think everybody was talking about how bad their kits were last year, but it's much better. I like it. Puma, I think they've done a decent job. I mean, obviously Puma this year haven't done a great job on kits with the no badge kits. It just looks completely wrong, but yeah, I think Palace have done a decent job on this kit, but I'll put it at the top of average.
Fair enough. We'll now go on to Everton's kit. And I kind of like this. I think it goes in decent, but I'd say it's around there.
Above Brighton, definitely. I think
it's not as good as...
I think the shoulder kind of part looks quite good for, like, where you have that sort of Adidas stripes. I think that sort of area looks pretty decent. Obviously the sponsors looks good
as well.
I think Hummel, they do some decent kits as well, and I think it's not a bad kit. It's not a bad kit. You can't really
and the pattern as well.
Too much about it.
It's quite a new one. I haven't seen that pattern before, but yeah, it goes quite well with the kit, I'd say. Definitely. Right. We'll go on to the next one now, which is Leeds.
I like that. It's decent. I don't think it's below it. I think it's second in average, mate. I think it's second in average. I think it's a very, very decent kit. I think it looks, it looks quite a smart kit, to be honest. I think it looks quite different from Leeds. I like the sponsor. Even though I've got no clue what the sponsor is, it looks quite decent. I think the yellow stripes go down well. See, Leeds, they're sort of that colour as well. So it's a decent kit. I can't really spot too much that are wrong. Leeds, smart, white kit. It's not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. I do think maybe it is a little bit plain. If maybe they had a bit of more to it, I think it could get into decent, but it's not a bad kit at all. I think
Leeds kits haven't really been plain, so for this one, I think it's just a one-off. I mean, their away kit's good. I think their away kit last year was good as well. So yeah, I think it's it's a decent kit. It's not too bad. Not too bad. You can't really complain if you're a Leeds fan. It obviously might look a lot better when in person, or it's on a player or something like that.
Right, we'll go on to Leicester's one. And this ain't me being biased here, but I'm honestly saying that. I think it's the best
I'm not
kit.
Gonna move it.
I think it's the best kit in the league.
I think it's pretty good. I mean, the only downside I'd say is the sponsor. Obviously, we've moved to a different sponsor from King Power, but the King Power,
think it's good.
It's a decent sponsor. Obviously, I think people probably say the downside to it's obviously this sponsor FPS, but he gives us a lot more money, so that's quite good. I think they're partnered with
I don't think there's anything wrong with it personally.
Yeah, so I think it looks decent. It could be a lot worse, but I think the pattern looks really, really nice on it, and it goes really, really well. And I'm a big fan of this year's kit, and the sort of collar area, there's like a sort of goldish outline as well, which makes it look even more better. So yeah, it's definitely one of our best kits this last season. But I think we've had a few good kits the past few years with Adidas. But we'll move on to Liverpool.
Now, I think when we saw Liverpool's kit at the start, we thought, it wasn't the best. But I think this is up there with actually being quite a decent kit.
Yeah, I think it would have looked better. The orange sort of sort of secondary colour. I think it would look better with white. I feel like that might look a bit better, but yeah, I think it still looks decent. I like the way, I think it's different, you know, the sort of way they've done it, you know, with the line coming across the kit. I think it looks quite good. You know, not many other clubs to really do that, to be honest, but you know, it's a decent kit. I think if I was a Liverpool fan, I would have preferred it in that sort of white secondary colour, but at the end of the day, I think that's a pretty decent kit. But I've heard they might be changing the sponsor next year as well, so that'll be very different. Hopefully, they bring back Carlsberg, because I think that was a really good sponsor for Liverpool. Made their kits look a lot better. But yeah, move on to Manchester City.
Man City, I think personally, it's either in the near the bottom of that or decent, or
I think it's an
average.
I think it's certainly different. I feel like the colour's a bit different as well. Like they normally go with like a light sky blue. I think this is a little bit darker sort of shade, in my opinion. I think
the only thing that's quite hard to see is kind of the sponsor and the.
I don't think the sponsors are hard to see at all, because you know it says
To be fair, we're seeing it off a screen, you know, with a proper.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually got the whole kits here, and I think it's just quite a decent kit. I think people are saying it's disgusting, but I don't think it is at all. I think it's you know, it's not a bad kit, Man City. I don't think they do too many bad kits apart from their third kit this year. Then yeah, it's a decent kit for Man City.
Fair enough. We'll go on to Man United's kit. I think there's only one thing that ruins it. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but I think it's a sponsor.
I like the sponsor, to be honest. I think it's a retro kit, as we all know. All of Manchester United's kit are retros this year. I like it. It's plain, but it's simple. I think there's little sort of lines down the middle, I think I quite like that sort of stripe down the middle, and I quite like it. And I think you either like it or you really, really like it. I think it's pretty decent. I think the collar looks decent as well. I actually like the sponsor. They've got a sort of
where do you put it in
white bit on the arm. I mean, obviously we have two different opinions on it, but I'd actually go next to Leicester's, to be honest. I quite like it. I think it's one of the best kits of the season. I really, really like it. I think it looks better long sleeve, in my opinion. I think that looks quite good. It looks quite stylish, but yeah, obviously it's retro. So I think a lot of the retro kits that they throw back to now are quite good, like Manchester United and a few other teams.
Right, we'll go on to Newcastle's now. Now, is it me? When you see this kit, do you see a number 4 like right under their logo or their sponsor?
I'm not too sure. I'm not really.
I kind of see it. It looks a bit weird, but with Newcastle's kits, it's a bit like Brighton. They're always the same every year, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure on it, to be honest. I mean, I think sort of pattern looks a bit weird, because normally Newcastle just go with the stripes, but kind of down the middle, it's got that sort of two sort of stripes, like when it's going up to the collar. I think that looks pretty weird. I don't understand why they're doing that. I think you could have just kept the
normal stripes.
Just kept the normal stripes, but I understand it's with the sort of collar bit. But I think it could have just looked better. But I'd actually put below average. I'd probably say it's worse than Chelsea's. I'm not really a fan of it, but we'll have to wait and see if they do a better one next year. But we'll move on to Norwich, and you either hate this or like it. Which one is it?
I don't mind it, to be fair. I think
it looks really good on other pictures. I think it looks really, really good. The sponsor, I mean, it could be better, but I think it's a fairly average sponsor. Right. Joma, it's a decent. I think it's it's a different key. I think the part on the shoulders, obviously there's sort of different sort of lines. I think it looks decent. I think Norwich have done a good job with their kits this year. I think their away kit is what catches my eye as well. I think that looks really, really good. But I'd probably say decent is the right category for Norwich's kit this season.
You don't really see many kits that have Joma as the not sponsor, like the badge, but we'll go on to the next one now, which is Southampton.
Now Southampton, I think their away kit is beautiful this year, and we'll get onto that next video. But I don't know if it's their third kit or not, but I think the Southampton kit, when you look at it close and when you look at it in detail, it looks much better. I think the collar looks pretty decent as well. It looks it looks all right for me, but I'd probably put it in the top of average for me. I think it looks
Fair
it looks a
enough.
lot better close up, but yeah, it's an all right kit. I think if I was a Southampton fan, I'd be happy. Considering Southampton, you can't really do a lot with their home kits. At the end of the day, it's just
Yeah.
a red and white stripes like Brentford. But yeah, I think they've done a decent job this year.
Fair enough. Now we'll go on to Spurs kit, and
This
I think
is
it's just
it's
very plain,
It's
isn't it?
very plain. There's nothing going on. I mean, there's absolutely nothing. You can
I'm,
look on hundreds of photos. There's literally nothing going on that. I wouldn't
would
say
you say it's that
I
far?
wouldn't say it's bottom
Hmm,
tier. No, I wouldn't say it's bottom tier at all. But I just think
I think they're.
I mean, it's like Brentford. It's plain. But so is
Hmm,
Tottenham's. So I think it'd be a bit unfair to put Tottenham in like the bottom tier or something like that. There's nothing really going. I
hmm,
can't really go wrong with it. The sponsor's good, everything about it, but it's just a
hmm.
simple Spurs kit in my opinion.
Fair enough. We'll go on to Watford's kit,
In my
and I
opinion, this
remember.
goes in poor. I think, in my opinion, this goes in poor
Yeah,
for me.
really, I actually don't mind. I think it's an okay kit.
I think it looks revolting, to be honest. I think the sponsor looks like sort of fire, gives me like farm vibes, like this kit. I don't know why. I think it's the sponsor is like steak.com. I really don't like the sort of stripes in the middle. It just looks a bit revolting, to be honest. I think if Leicester did something like this, I won't be too happy, but it just
Yeah,
doesn't look great.
fair enough.
I think a lot of fans think it's revolting, but then there's some fans that, kind of grown into it. But in my opinion, I just don't like the stripes. I think the sort of black sort of stripes, and it's not really like a stripe, it's kind of. It's kind of disgusting, to be honest. I think that's why I'll just leave it. I just don't
Fair
like it
enough.
at all, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll put in poor there, but I don't mind it, to be fair. I don't think it's, I can see where you're coming from with like the stripes, but I don't think it's, it's not that bad. But yeah, we'll go with West Ham's now.
I think
And
this is a
I
good kit.
I kind of like it.
I think
Yeah,
it's a good kit. It looks it looks smart in my opinion. Yeah, it's something that you'd wear on like a night out because like the collar looks quite good.
yeah, I think
It's very similar to Burnley's. That's what I'd say. Obviously, Betway, they've
Mm.
had that sponsor for a while. And I think it looks quite good. Umbro, I think it's very similar to Burnley's, and obviously we liked
Well,
Burnley,
yeah,
so I'd
same,
slap it in decent.
yeah. To be fair, it's the same
Yeah,
brand, isn't it? So
yeah, but obviously
there's not
West
really
Ham
gonna be
and
much of a difference,
obviously
isn't
they're
it?
both claret, but obviously Burnley and
Mm.
West Ham they haven't had the exact same kits for a good few years, but they're all very similar. So I
Mm.
think you've got to put it in the same
Yeah,
tier. But the final
fair
one,
enough. We'll go
Wolverhampton
on
Wanderers.
Wolves.
Now looking
I
at
don't
this
know what to
kit,
think about it. It kind of
yeah,
looks.
it's not. It's a kit that you don't really know what to think about. Like,
Mm,
it's fair. It's not plain. Like you've got the sort of black on the sort of side parts as well, so
mm,
that's all right. But it looks. You just don't really know what to say about it, really. I mean, there's not much to look at. The sponsors, obviously,
just
they've had that
average,
sponsor
isn't
for
it?
a few years. I think there's a sort of black lining on the collar, which
Mm,
looks all right. But yeah, I think there's not much to
yeah,
really go about this Wolves kit, to be honest. But it
fair
might
enough.
look better in the flesh.
So yes, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. If you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below if you think there should be some changes. Do you think maybe there's a kit that we put in poor? For example, you might think Watford's kit was one of the best kits in the league. I don't. Yeah, Ryan's quite surprised about that one. Yeah, not many people might think that. But comment below what your thoughts are on it, guys. And yes, guys, we'll see you in the next one.